Imagine a world where small acts of kindness create a ripple effect of support. A world where financial struggles never stand in the way of hope. That's the vision behind Community Pay It Forward. After a life changing motorcycle accident, I saw firsthand the devastating impact unexpected financial hardships can have on families. That's why I started Community Pay It Forward, to ensure that no one faces these challenges alone. Community Pay It Forward is more than just a single program. Through community impact and packed podcasting, people all coming together, we amplify the voices of those making a difference. And with Community Dare to Care, we provide essential goods like clothing, food, and school supplies to those who need it most, to the community, from the community, for the betterment of the community. With Community Pay It Forward, we support families, children, veterans, community projects, no matter where they are. We are not just providing assistance, but hope for a brighter future, not just for people in need, but for businesses that are out there struggling, trying to find a way. We have a plan, but we need your help to reach the next level. We're launching a crowdfunding campaign to raise $500,000. This will allow us to market the Community Pay It Forward program more effectively and to acquire a vehicle for delivering essential goods to families in need in our community, and enhance and strengthen our programs to serve even more people. And as a thank you for your generosity, we're offering special incentives for your contribution. As we tell people all the time, your donation, big or small, will help. It'll create lasting impact on our community. Join us in building a future where generosity and compassion lead the way. Visit our website today, communitypayitforward.us, or scan the QR code above and donate today. Together, we can pay it forward, because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Every car that rolls into your shop is more than just repair, it's someone's lifeline. Now, what if every repair could also be a lifeline for someone in need? When you join Community Pay It Forward, a portion of each job can help a family, veteran, or nonprofit without costing your customer anything extra. With the Shop, Click, and Pick program, your shop keeps cars running. Let's keep communities running too. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together.
Hello world, my name is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant at Z World Webs. My one goal is to develop custom websites that are specifically catered to your organization's needs. I completely understand that building a website is an exhilarating, exciting, and significant step in connecting with your audience. Your organization has Z potential to make a meaningful impact, whether it's supporting animal rights, advocating for equality, combating human trafficking, or honoring the brave individuals who have served our country. Your mission is too important to be held back by the challenges a website can present. And I am here to ensure that your website works for you, not against you. Whether it's maintaining, developing, or redeveloping a custom website that is specifically catered to your needs. And with that being said, I would be more than delighted to learn more about your organization and, of course, develop a website Z World is waiting for. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. Um, I know I said last week that we were just going to have recorded shows today, but somebody very special to me has a very special series coming up this week. Next week, God. This week, I guess it is next week if I was last week, whatever. But, and it's something that we really need to make sure that we're letting you know about because it's something that her message is so important, and one of the reasons why I didn't want to wait is because what she's talking about, it doesn't matter if today's a holiday or not. When she's talking about when you need it, you need it, and that's the unfortunate truth when it comes to loss. So I do want to say a couple things about Memorial Day, and yes, you've heard this from me before. I understand that you've heard this from me before. And no, I'm not going to apologize for it. But I'm asking you to join with me in boycotting any store who is using Memorial Day as a sales pitch. Men and women who paid the ultimate price for this country did not do it so somebody can get $100 off their mattress. I guess in the long run, yes, they did. But they're putting a price on this holiday that is priceless. This is a holiday that we are supposed to remember those that we lost in service of our country. This is not a day that we need to worry about running out and making a purchase. Look, I'll flat out say it. A lot of people are making a stink about, well, why are stores opening on Christmas Day? Why are stores open today? Today is just as important as any other holiday, if not more important than any other holiday. Today's a day that it's not affected by anybody's religion. It's not affected by anybody's race. Because there are people who have died of every religion, every race, every color, every creed, every sexual orientation. There are people who have paid the ultimate price on, and we should be celebrating them on this day. And that should be the sole celebration of today. I celebrate my grandfathers. I celebrate my uh, my uncles who have passed, who have served this country. I celebrate with my family on this day. We're not going to have a barbecue because, here in Colorado, we've got really crappy weather right now. But I mean, that's just the way it is. We're still going to break bread and we're still going to celebrate the people that we love that served our country. I'm going to ask you again, please, if somebody tries to sell you on a Memorial Day sale, ask them, why can't we just have like the beginning of summer sale? Memorial Day should not have to do with your purchases. Memorial Day has to do with what someone gave, and they gave it all. They gave everything they had, they gave their life. Let's stop using this day as a sales pitch and remember that this is a day that people gave everything they had for us. So that is my sales pitch. I guess if you want to look at it, you know what? Do business any day you want. It's a great thing about the way that we've got this right now. Do business any way that you want. But when somebody brings Memorial Day sale to you, just say, you know what? Stop. Don't. Stay away from those stores. There are plenty of stores out there that do not have Memorial Day sales. And those of you stores who are out there, join me in changing this. The beginning of summer sale, ending of spring sale, whatever. There are so much better ways to do this than, in my mind, making a mockery of those who died for our country. Now I'm going to bring on our guest after I've kind of demolished the mood a little bit, but it's truly the way I feel, and I can't help it. And I'm not going to apologize for it because it really bugs me. But Maria is a great friend of mine. She's been on the show a couple times, and I'm proud to bring her back. Maria Belenik, how are you doing, sweetheart? Oh, look at you, teeny tiny over there. How are you doing today? You just remuted yourself. There you go.
There I go. There I go. I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. And you know what? I loved hearing your rant about the Memorial Day. I'm
Well,
in Canada. Don't celebrate it, but I totally understand what the rant is about and agree with you 100%.
it's this is oh, and look, I mean, if you want to take it even further, every day's a day, and Maria, you're going to be talking about this. Every day's a day that we celebrate those that we've lost. But this is a holiday that was created to specifically celebrate those. It was created. Excuse me. It was created by the Confederate women after the Civil War. It was called Decoration Day, and so it started way back then. But it was started as just a way to honor those who fought and died. And they didn't just decorate the Confederate graves; they also decorated those of the Union. So, I mean, it was really a way to celebrate the lives of people. And we've taken and we've allowed this, this love for sales and this love for getting a discount. We've allowed it to take over a very important holidays. So, do you guys up in Canada, do you have a day like this?
We celebrate Remembrance Day, which is in November.
Okay.
Uh, and last week we had Victoria Day, which really because Canada's part of the Commonwealth,
Right. Right.
and so uh, Victoria Day is really has to do something about Queen Victoria.
Yeah. Um,
So
Remembrance Day, that is the day with the poppies, right? That's when the poppies appear.
yeah, so the Remembrance Day for us is about all the wars that have happened and is honoring all the lives that were sacrificed in any war. I think it started after World War II, and it really encompasses all wars.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
so that we do, everything closes down for Remembrance Day. And so there is no Remembrance Day sales or anything like that because you're not. As you say, when it's a day to honor those that have sacrificed the ultimate, their lives in protecting our freedom, that I think is a disrespect. And realistically, these holidays, especially like Memorial Day or any other day, whether your person fought in a war or didn't, knowing that your loved one isn't there makes it even more poignant, makes brings it up even more so to the surface when you see, as I think you had talked, when people celebrate. It's one thing to say you're celebrating the life of your loved one. A lot of times when we think of celebration, we think of the party goers, like
mhm.
the going out, having a good time, all of that. Where when you're experienced loss, and it doesn't matter whether it's recent or even years ago, knowing that your loved one isn't there, it makes it bittersweet. And that's one of the reasons why, and I know you alluded to my summit, I have where you're holding love and loss together because we're loving and we're also feeling the loss. And so it coexists.
Yeah, and there we need people like you, Maria, who have been through the pain because there are a lot of people who don't understand, who don't realize what they're going to be going through now. There are people out there who can easily get lost in everything because, after the loss of somebody, your mind is just a blur. Everything around you is a blur. And
Hmm.
you don't know what's going to come next. You can have everything planned out, and in your case, obviously there was a buildup. You knew what was going to come, but even when it came, it was you weren't ready for it, were you?
No, and they're so true. I mean, my son had a rare blood cancer. And even though he had it for a number of years, there's still the expectation that, we'll still get through it. And when someone passes away, whether it's unexpected, whether it's expected, it is a shock. It's a shock to our system. It's a shock to any of us of this disbelief. Um, and at any time, I think that when someone tells us that their person has passed away, there's the rawness that we experience at the beginning. There's also this disbelief of questioning of why me? Is it really true? I always go, grievers know who died. It's just a lot of times our brain gives it to us in layers because of so much overwhelm and so much shock to the system. Because it affects the whole body, it affects our mind, it affects our spirituality, it affects our emotions. So, a lot of times, people always kind of go that grief is only our emotions, and it's not, it's everything. And I know I always go in saying, my purpose now has to come to change perceptions, and it's a little shift. It's not like this huge shift, but a lot of times in grief, and even people who don't understand grief, which really is the majority of people, we think it's an either or. Either your emotions are so either too sad, too angry, and then either or means that you're either going to be stuck in your pain or you're going to get over it. Like there's a fix to grief. And the shift that I want people to understand is there is no fixing grief. Grief needs to be acknowledged, it needs to be witnessed. And if it happens to be your loved one that has passed away, the missing never goes away. Yes, we evolve in life. We can live life, and that's what my purpose is. How do you live life afterwards? How do you hold your love and the loss together where they coexist, where you can still have laughter and not feel guilty over it? Because a lot of times we start laughing and then people will tell us, "Oh, you're over it."
Yeah.
And then we feel like, "Oh my god, we have to be guilty now that we laughed, like we can't laugh anymore."
Yeah. Oh my God, I found something funny. I must be a terrible person.
Wow.
Maria, what are some of the dangers of us not completely allowing ourselves to grieve?
Well, I'm a perfect example because I had 10 years that I always go where I lived in limbo or on autopilot, where basically I repressed what my feelings were. And I was on this journey trying to fix myself because I thought something was wrong, that I was doing grief wrong. People will come up again if you laugh or if you smile or you're doing things that are different. People will come up and go, "Oh, you're stuck. You're not over it yet. What's wrong with you?" And you start believing that. And instead of saying, "I'm grieving and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay if some days are harder. It's okay if on this moment I found something funny and I'm laughing." And when we can realize that everything is going to use quotation marks for normal, because what is normal? When we know that we are now becoming, because a lot of times I think we're under this perception, and it's because society and the people around us are telling us, when are you getting back to who you were?
Yeah.
And that obviously you can't go back to who you were, because if you could go back to who you were, your person would still be alive. And when we experience loss, and loss can be of anything, but when we experience a traumatic loss, we are forever altered. We are forever changed. And then it becomes who are we becoming right at this moment and accepting us for who we are right now, not for who we were, not for who we're going to be in the future, but right now.
In the general public, I think a lot of times we take in our impatience and our way of looking at things about needing things to happen right now, right now, right now. We do an in-service to people who are going through loss because we do. Well, it's been 6 months. Aren't you over this yet? No, no. Look, I've lost fish that I moan, that I miss. Okay, I mean, and that's just I don't take loss well. I don't take loss well. My uncle died earlier in the year, and
Mm.
I still every time I've got I've got an envelope that he wrote my name on right before he died. All it says are three letters: ZAK. That's it. It's in my desk. I will never get rid of it because that was the last thing he wrote to me. And it I'll never get over that pain. I mentioned John Wayne Vogel's every time you and I get together. And he talks about how his son Bladen, he lost his son Bladen at 3 years old to a drowning accident. And he says, I wake up every morning with the worst heartburn you have ever felt in your life. He says, just think of the worst heartburn you've ever had and amplify that because that's the way I feel. And Bladen would have been 16 now. So it's not
Mm.
like this is something that's brand new. My
And
grandfather, yeah, yeah, go on ahead, please.
oh no, and I was going to say, and that is so totally what people forget is that the griever wakes up every morning like it's a daily missing, it's a daily yearning. Does it soften over time? Yes, it does, but the missing doesn't go away. And I think when we say softens over time, it's that rawness of pain that actually softens, right? It's not so much about, oh, the pain's going to go away. It's still there and it's always going to be there. I always go, as long as a parent is alive, that's how long the pain is. Or as my mentor always likes to say, and I love this line, how long will they be dead?
Yeah,
It,
that's yeah. I can see why that's important to you because yeah, and look, it's like for somebody who's had something in their life that they've had to live with an injury that it's changed their lives. Me having a brain injury, it's changed the way I do things. It didn't go away. The injury's never going to go away. I don't not struggle with it. It's something that you learn how to live with. It just takes a while for that to happen. So please be careful when you approach people. Just because someone smiles doesn't mean they're having a good day. Just because someone's crying doesn't mean that their life is falling apart. They're reacting to a moment. Let them have the moment, help them if they need it. So tell us about your event as I bring it up here on our screen. There we go. It's only going to take me a minute to get it up there, but tell us about your event that you've got coming up.
that's okay. It's the tech stuff, right? Yeah. So the event, which is called Holding Love and Loss Together, it's a 3-day summit, and I'm going to have conversations with people in different walks of life that have experienced loss. And a lot of them, some of them are grief educators, others are life coaches, energy healers. And so, what it is that how has loss affected their life, or how has that projected their life in a different manner? Because a lot of times, as you said, Zach, I mean, I want to give my condolences on the loss of your uncle. And also, as you said, when we even have a car accident or we have a diagnosis, that changes how our life is there are certain events in our lives that are sort of like milestones. Some of them will have a smaller effect on our life of how where we're going in life, like what the shift is going to be. Other events really shift that. And I know my mentor had always said, write down sometimes what your losses are. And I know this year, Mount St. Helens. So I got married when Mount St. Helens exploded the first time. And the second time, a week later, we were in Washington State. My husband and I were in Washington State. Mount St. Helena had exploded, and there was ash all over Washington State, the road that we were at. And when you're looking at it, the priority of when you're thinking of life is so important. Now, even though I went through that Mount St. Helens thing, that was an event. And yet, you know what? It didn't really shift my life that much. It made a little bit of what are my priorities? What do I feel like is important? So that aspect did. And there are other things in life that happen. Like yourself, I also had a head on collision in an accident. And yes, that changed. It shifted my thinking again. Because all of a sudden, when you think all of a sudden your life is on the line, it shifts how we think. When my son was diagnosed, again, that made a shift. The biggest shift that I found in life, and this is how it happened, was afterwards he died, because that really shocked. And I think it felt like it shattered. It feels like there's a shattering inside of us, and then we can never put our pieces back together again. And going through my 10 years of autopilot, of sort of being physically present but not fully present, is when I realized that grief doesn't go away, that it stays with us. And that's one of the reasons why I say we hold love and loss together. And this is one of the reasons for the summit, is because on each day the topics are a little bit different. Is that the first day is about the rawness of grief, of what does it feel like when the event has just happened. It's traumatic, and we are so overwhelmed, we're so confused, we don't even know where we're supposed to turn. All of a sudden, we just feel like we're frozen. The world keeps moving around, and we're still in the same spot. And we're kind of like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, what, right? It's just this. Um, and I would say it would be the same way as if someone had gone to war and had been shell shocked. It's that PTSD. That sort of event is in the rawness. The second day, I always call it the in between, where we're yearning to go back to who we were, because we want to go back. We want to go back to a time when our loved one was alive, and we're afraid of moving forward, because really, what does forward mean when they're not part of our lives anymore? All of a sudden, our dreams were lost, our future, we have no idea what it's going to look like. And the third day is more about things that we didn't think about that were grief. Our secondary losses of losing friends. A lot of times, miscarriage is not seen as grief.
Hmm.
Our health is not, losing our health is not seen as grief. As you said, being diagnosed with an illness or something that affects our ability is not seen as a form of grief. And yet, grief is such a huge umbrella. It's not only the loss of our loved one, of a person or a pet, but it encompasses so much more. And so the summit is really about having conversations like you and I of what is grief and how has it affected people's lives.
You said something in there about the illness. A lot of times, and I guess this is directed as a question to you. A lot of times when you're outside of this situation, recently I had a another uncle who was going through. Um, he was completely mentally gone. Okay, he Alzheimer's had taken him,
Mhm.
And you always had that conversation out of earshot. I'll be so much happier for my aunt when he's gone because my aunt is giving everything that she's got. Do we a lot of times take that thought and think, "Oh my god, now she can breathe because he's gone," and you lessen the effects that she's got? Are you lessening the importance of his life for her? Is that something that we're guilty of doing maybe?
I think a lot of times in grief, especially when we're dealing with that, with a longer illness, there's the guilt of relief. Like there is the relief that someone is no longer suffering.
Mhm.
And there's also that yearning for someone who is no longer how they were beforehand. Um, and then there's the yearning, like even for your aunt, in the sense of people are probably thinking, wow, like now she doesn't have to take care of him anymore. She can live life. And in some ways, it's a little bit of both. I mean, the intention is not to be disrespectful, right? The intention is to say, wow, like at least now she has more relief.
Yeah.
And yet she may be thinking that too. Like, I don't know, because each person is going to be different. And then she's going to feel guilty over that if she feels that relief. So it's a little bit of both. I think realistically, I wouldn't say that to anyone in their face, like, wow, you must be relieved now, because that is
Oh
really showing,
yeah, yeah.
right? But it's also, I think when people say that, it's also a relief on them. Like they're projecting their own emotions and feelings and thoughts onto someone else. If that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. But is it an okay thing to look at someone whose loved one just passed and tell them they're in a better place? Is that disrespectful I
Yeah.
and
I was
I am as
never
guilty of this as anybody. I have said it a couple times. I said it when just recently when my uncle died because I was looking at him the night before and he was I'm trying not to cry here. He was miserable. He was miserable. He was he was not my uncle. He was a shell of a human being. And when we found out that he passed, that was the first thing in my mind was he's in a better place. But is that a responsible thing to say?
It's okay if you want to say it to yourself, right? And I get it because I think a lot of times, and this is where it really is, because really sometimes when we think about it, what is quality of life? And
Yeah.
who are we to judge what someone else's quality of life is? I think a lot of times, right? I mean, yes, when someone has been one way and then they try, especially when we're dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's, it alters who they are. And especially, and it's harder on the caregiver. Uh, they are, like as you said, your aunt poured so much into your uncle. Now she's probably going through a lot of emotions and that are also contradictory. She may be feeling relief and then she may be feeling guilt or she may be feeling shame.
Right.
Um, right? Or anger or sadness or it's really hard because emotions come all at once and they're so confusing and they contradict one another. And you probably thought when you had that, in some ways you were looking at what he was before when he
Mhm.
was healthy and had, everything. And then when the disease had taken over the illness. And so that is in our thoughts, sort of an aspect of, wow, he's no longer suffering. And that's okay to think of your own and to have maybe a conversation with, say, yourself and someone else, not to the grieving person, though, because
Right.
we don't know what their thoughts are. And one of the things is that they're also having these different things. And at any given time, I always go sometimes, it's really hard how anything is going to land to a griever. I'm a griever and I have a hard time sometimes knowing what to say to another griever
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
words are so powerful. And even though the intent is maybe coming out of love, it does not land as love. And I always go, one of the things that we always want to avoid is starting anything that says at least or anything that starts with still. You still have, or at least they did suffer, or at least they're no longer suffering. That already comes across as, even though it's not meant that way, but it is disrespectful to the griever.
It's almost like having a conversation where there's a but involved.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I apologize for this, but no, no, no. That's not the way it can go. Give us the information about your healing heart, holding love and loss together. Give us the information. How do people get involved?
Okay, so there is a registration form, and I think it is on LinkedIn. Yeah, they can register. It is 3 days from 9 a.m. Pacific time to 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it's 4 hours per day. And it really is. It's about different people coming on. Um, and they are impactful people that have their own businesses. They're entrepreneurs. They either work on other things. So grief is secondary. There are a few people that, like myself, have made grief their purpose, the grief educators. The rest of us are entrepreneurs, leaders, coaches, energy workers. And so they are going to share parts of their story of what happened to them and how it shifted their perception, either in grief or in their life. And for a lot of people, that traumatic experience shifted in what they are doing and what led them to what they are doing right at this moment.
Well, Maria, I wish you the best of luck with this. And I invite you to come back on anytime that you have anything like this. Yeah, is there a cost to join this?
No, it's actually complimentary. And each guest will also have a gift for the participants, um, for the attendees who are showing up, just so that way, because a lot of times in grief, we feel like we're alone, that we're the only ones who are experiencing what we're experiencing. And so this is really a being that fly on, set the fly on the wall,
Yeah.
um, to sort of listen into people's conversation and go, wow, I've experienced that. Um, and know that you are not alone and that there are people who are able to support you, that you can talk to. And that's really what this was all about. It's coming from love so that way other people do not feel alone, that they can feel that there's support out there for them.
Well, maybe we will have to try to find a way for a next event like this to where we can record it and we can share this with people, our followers as well. Put it on the website or something. That way, if people can't, because unfortunately we got to this a little late, but maybe next time we can do a little bit better job. But I do look, if you have recently lost someone, or you know somebody who's lost someone, and the truth is, in the future you're going to lose someone, so getting this information, it's very important to have. So if you can jump on and follow it, please use the link below. I have shared it twice in the comments section, so you should be able to use those comments just to go straight to the page and register. So um, Maria, thank you so very much for joining us today, and telling us about this, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Well, thank you, Zach. I'm always honored to be on your show because I love the work that you're doing, and I know that you're for community and supporting the people out there in need. And I thank you for that.
Well, I greatly appreciate it. And if you stick with me, I'm going to end the show real quick, and then you and I can have just a real brief conversation, okay? So,
Definitely.
thank you very much. Again, the best of luck, and please come back and let us know how it went. All right. I want to thank everyone for joining me on this Memorial Day. Please make sure that you love someone out there because someone out here loves you. Let's do this right. Let's make sure that this is about what Memorial Day is about. Make sure that this is about those who've lost their lives in defense of our country. I think Canada's got it right. Shut things down on this day. This isn't a holiday that has to do with your religion. This isn't any belief. Every single one of us has someone in our family or in our friend circle who has lost their lives in service of this country. If you go back in your history, there's probably multiple men and women who have fought, got home, and then lost their lives. They still gave of their lives for this country. So again, please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. If you've got a little bit of extra food, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware. Give it to somebody in the community who's struggling. If you've got an extra hoodie, it doesn't fit you anymore, put it in your vehicle, give it to somebody who's struggling with the elements. These are two of the things that you can do because it means nothing to you, but it means everything, including the life to them. If you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go alone when we all come together. My name is Zak Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. I thank you very much, and I will see you on Wednesday.